Tonight, there is breaking news. The former police chief tonight, a fugitive on the run. Authorities warning he could be armed and dangerous. Tonight, that urgent search for a former police chief, a convicted murderer, escaping from a high-security prison wearing a makeshift officer's uniform. Where they think he could be. Also just in, the other major escape, and tonight the new body camera just in tonight of two of the inmates who made that brazen escape. The hunt now for others at this hour. Tonight there is news on COVID vaccines here in the U.S. Health Secretary RFK Jr. now bypassing the CDC, changing the guidance on COVID vaccines when it comes to pregnant women and healthy children. Kennedy's decision tonight blindsiding many medical experts. Also the news just in tonight, President Trump now pardoning two reality TV stars of fraud and tax evasion convictions. Many will remember them from TV. Tonight, the arrest, a second suspect accused of kidnapping and torturing a cryptocurrency investor for weeks. And the new video coming in tonight of the first arrest. Tonight, what the suspects are accused of doing to that investor as they tried to get his Bitcoin password and how he broke free. The explosive testimony today in the Sean Diddy Combs trial. His former personal assistant testifying Combs showed up at her apartment with a gun, and who she testified he said he was going to kill. Tonight, the charges after a suspect drives his van into the crowd. At least 65 people hurt, including children. Tonight, all eyes on a critical new launch for Elon Musk's SpaceX Starship. It happened just moments ago after the last two ended with explosions. What we're seeing here tonight. Tonight, the images coming in from Gaza, the urgent need there and the chaos as the first aid reaches Gaza in months. Families and children racing to get any food they could find. Tonight, King Charles north of the border in Canada. After President Trump said Canada should be the 51st state, what King Charles said today. Tonight, the new charge against former Olympic star Mary Lou Retton. And tonight, Billy Joel and his brain diagnosis and what his wife has now revealed.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening. It is great to be back with all of you at home after the Memorial Day holiday. We do begin tonight with this urgent search for a former police chief, a convicted murderer known as the Devil of the Ozarks, who escaped from a high-security prison in a makeshift uniform. He was serving a decades-long sentence for murder and rape in Arkansas. Grant Hardin slipped through a controlled gate in broad daylight. We're learning that law enforcement uniform he put together himself. Tonight, officials circulating this wanted poster of the 56-year-old former police chief. Residents have been told to be on high alert and to lock their doors. Authorities are closing roads, setting up checkpoints, and searching the densely wooded area. And tonight, we've learned the search area is now widening. And what officials are now saying about where he could be. ABC's Faith Abubey leading us off tonight. She's in Calico Rock, Arkansas for us.
Tonight, Arkansas residents on high alert as the urgent search for a former police chief turned escaped convict stretches into its third day. Grant Hardin breaking out of an Arkansas prison this weekend. The 56-year-old was serving decades in prison for rape and murder. The Stone County Sheriff's Office releasing this photo they say shows Hardin disguised in a makeshift officer's uniform as he took off from the prison through a controlled gate.
It does look like it was handmade and manufactured in a lot of ways. And so we're trying to ascertain exactly what compiled that makeshift uniform and where is able to get those materials.
Tonight, authorities telling ABC News they're scouring the densely wooded area nearby, warning Hardin, who has a law enforcement background, could be armed and dangerous. The sheriff closing roads, setting up checkpoints, and telling the community to, quote, stay vigilant, lock your house and vehicle doors, and report any suspicious activity immediately. Hardin, known locally as the Devil of the Ozarks, has been the subject of criminal docuseries. Police detectives who previously worked alongside him, shocked and devastated.
There's evil in this world that will take advantage of an opportunity if they get it. And then here he was, 20 years later, sitting 5 feet away from me, and I had no idea.
The urgent manhunt for the former police chief comes at the same time as authorities are still looking for 2 of the 10 inmates who escaped in a separate brazen jailbreak in New Orleans.
Everybody move to the right side of the car.
Authorities releasing this new body camera video of 2 of their most recent arrests, now captured and back behind bars. Back in Arkansas, the manhunt intensifying tonight as residents remain on edge.
So let's bring back in Faith Abubey. She's live tonight in Arkansas on the scene of that search. And Faith, I know you just spoke with authorities. Where do they think he could be?
Yeah, David, they believe he could be in the densely wooded areas around here, which is making the search even more difficult. A source telling me just moments ago they are following a strong lead nearby. Helicopters, ATVs, drones, and canine officers all being utilized in this urgent manhunt. David.
All right, Faith Abubey leading us off here tonight. Faith, thank you. We turn now to the major headline involving COVID vaccines here in the U.S. and the changing guidelines tonight when it comes to pregnant women and children, and it's causing controversy. Health Secretary RFK Jr. bypassing the CDC, announcing these major changes, no longer recommending the vaccines for healthy pregnant women and healthy children. Kennedy's decision blindsiding many medical experts, the leading OBGYN association saying tonight about this unexpected move. It is very clear that COVID-19 infection during pregnancy can be catastrophic. Here's Rachel Scott.
Tonight, in a significant change to CDC guidelines, Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. announcing the department will no longer recommend routine COVID shots for healthy children and pregnant women.
I couldn't be more pleased to announce that as of today, the COVID vaccine for healthy children and healthy pregnant women has been removed from the CDC recommended immunization schedule.
Kennedy, a noted vaccine skeptic, has questioned whether the COVID-19 vaccine was successful in saving millions of lives. Today, he was joined by other top health officials.
There's no evidence healthy kids need it today, and most countries have stopped recommending it for children.
But the move was quickly questioned by public health officials, accusing the Trump administration of bypassing the traditional independent review process, including recommendations from medical experts. We were kind of blindsided by this announcement. We were not consulted about this, Dr. Sean O'Leary with the American Academy of Pediatrics said, and the leading OBGYN association with this dire warning. It's very clear that COVID-19 infection during pregnancy can be catastrophic. Tonight, the CDC's website still listing the COVID vaccine as recommended for everyone 6 months and older, including pregnant women. Doctors saying the new recommendations are unclear and remove a healthcare choice for families. This comes after the deadly measles outbreak across the country, most of the cases involving children not vaccinated. Today, Nebraska, now the 32nd state to report a measles case, a rare breakthrough case in a child who was vaccinated. So far, more than 1,000 people have been infected with the virus since the start of this year. 3 unvaccinated people, including 2 children, have died.
So let's bring in Rachel Scott live at the White House tonight. Rachel, that's the news on COVID vaccines and these changing guidelines tonight. But I know you're also covering another developing headline at this hour from the administration of President Trump tonight pardoning 2 reality TV stars on fraud and tax evasion convictions.
Yes, David, the president announced just moments ago that he will be granting full pardons to Julie and Todd Chrisley, 2 reality TV stars from the show Chrisley Knows Best. The couple was convicted of tax evasion and also defrauding banks out of more than $30 million by submitting false documents as they continue to live a luxurious life. The president says that pardon could be coming as soon as tomorrow, David.
All right, Rachel Scott at the White House. Rachel, thank you. Tonight in New York City, news of a second arrest now in a very disturbing case. A cryptocurrency investor was allegedly held captive and brutally tortured for weeks in a New York City townhouse. Tonight here, what the suspects are accused of doing to that investor. Here's Stephanie Ramos.
How was the Hamptons?
Tonight, a second suspect surrendering to police, led out in handcuffs in connection with that shocking and disturbing case of a cryptocurrency investor allegedly held captive and brutally tortured for weeks inside this luxury Manhattan townhouse.
Why did you do it? Why did you do it? Who helped you?
32-year-old crypto investor William Duplessis turning himself in early this morning. 37-year-old John Waltz, another crypto investor, was arrested Friday, brought out of that townhouse by police barefoot and in a bathrobe. Waltz charged with kidnapping, assault, and criminal possession of a firearm. The alleged victim, a 28-year-old Italian national, telling authorities his captors took his passport, tied him up, and demanded his Bitcoin password. When he refused, he says the suspects shocked him with electric wires, beat him with a firearm, and dangled him over a ledge, threatening to kill him if he didn't share the password. After nearly 3 weeks, the victim says he agreed to give up his password, but was able to make a daring escape when the suspects went to retrieve his laptop. The victim, barefoot and bleeding, was able to flag down an officer nearby.
David, the victim was hospitalized with wrist injuries consistent with being bound and cuts to his face. Waltz is scheduled back in court tomorrow and is being held without bail. Lawyers for both suspects are not commenting. David.
Stephanie Ramos reporting tonight. Steph, thank you. We turn next tonight to the dramatic testimony at the trial of Sean Diddy Combs here in New York today. His former personal assistant taking the stand testifying that Combs showed up at her apartment with a gun, and who she testified he said he was going to kill. Aaron Katursky at the courthouse again tonight.
A woman who worked for Sean Combs for years today testified he once kidnapped her at gunpoint on his way to attempt to kill a romantic rival. The hip-hop mogul had just found out his on-and-off girlfriend Cassie Ventura began dating rapper Kid Cudi in late 2011 when his former assistant Capricorn Clark testified she woke to banging at her door and saw a very upset Puff with a gun in his hand. "Get dressed, we're going to kill Kid Cudi," Clark recalled Combs telling her, but the rapper wasn't home at the time. Prosecutors are trying to prove Combs used kidnapping as part of a criminal enterprise, an allegation he has denied. Clark telling the jury Combs held her until Ventura agreed to see him. "He told me to tell Cassie that he has me and he's not going to let me go." Another time, Clark testified one of Combs's bodyguards, known as Uncle Paulie, brought her to a dilapidated space at Bad Boy Entertainment where a very wide, very heavy chain-smoking man subjected her to 5 days of lie detector tests after Combs suspected her of stealing jewelry he wore at one of his famous white parties in the Hamptons. If she flunked the test, she remembered the man telling her, "They're going to throw you in the East River." Kidnapping is just one part of the alleged racketeering conspiracy. Tomorrow, David, federal prosecutors are expected to focus on another, forced labor, calling a former employee who they allege was forced to perform sex acts with Sean Combs. David?
Aaron Katursky at the courthouse tonight. Aaron, thank you. All eyes on a critical new launch tonight for Elon Musk's SpaceX Starship just a short time ago, after the last two launches ended with explosions. Here's Gio Benitez.
Tonight, after two recent attempts ended in explosions that sent debris raining down to Earth, a partial success for Elon Musk's SpaceX Starship program. Starship Mission 9, like the past ones, uncrewed. The Starship, powered by a rocket that the company says is the most powerful ever built. Even after a successful launch and suborbital flight, SpaceX ultimately losing control of Starship as it re-entered the atmosphere, the ship exploding. It's the 9th try for SpaceX. The last one in March ended in disaster. After multiple engines shut down, they lost contact with the spacecraft and it exploded, flaming debris raining down on Florida and the Caribbean, visible to passengers on planes. Back in January, another failure when strong vibrations caused a fuel leak and another explosion. But in both cases, the giant reusable booster that carries the spaceship performed spectacularly, returning to the pad caught by those giant chopsticks. And David, Elon Musk dreams of sending humans to Mars, and this successful launch could bring those dreams a little closer to reality. David?
Gio Benitez tonight. Gio, thank you. Overseas tonight into the attempted murder charges now for a suspect accused of driving his van right into a crowd of soccer fans in Liverpool, England. Videos tonight, now police evidence showing a van slamming into people, swerving, hitting others. An outraged crowd then surging around the vehicle, smashing windows in anger. At least 65 people hurt, including children, when the suspect drove into the crowd. Police say the suspected driver had followed an ambulance that was responding to an emergency in that crowd before barreling into the crowd himself. Tonight here, the desperate images from Gaza, the urgent need there and the chaos as the first aid reaches Gaza in 3 months. Children and families racing to get any food they could. Here's our chief international correspondent, James Longman, tonight.
Desperate scenes in Gaza tonight. Starving men, women and children scrambling for food at an aid distribution centre. A fight for survival at their first chance for basic necessities since Israel's total blockade started 3 months ago. The aid station overrun, thousands rushing in every direction. Warning shots fired to control the crowd. This child scraping flour off the ground. Mazen Younis says he walked for miles and came home with only a can of peas to feed his family of 10. There was shooting and all hell broke loose. It's food dipped in blood. This is not working, he says. The centre is being run by the controversial Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, an operation backed by the US and Israel, which employs private security companies with support from Israeli troops. The UN accuses Israel of weaponizing aid as a means of displacement. They call for large-scale aid to be delivered directly to people, rather than forcing them to move in order to survive.
David, the GHF claimed to have delivered 8,000 boxes of aid today, and they say they plan to open 8 distribution centres like this across Gaza. But there are more than 2 million people in dire need of aid, and international aid organisations say this plan just won't be enough. David?
All right, James Longman reporting in from London tonight. James, thank you. Britain's King Charles tonight in Canada giving a speech and supporting Canada's sovereignty in a rare address to the country's parliament, the first by a monarch in nearly 70 years. King Charles, who is Canada's official head of state, invited by the Canadian government, his visit coming amid President Trump's talk of making Canada the 51st state. King Charles saying, quote, "The true north is indeed strong and free."
I've always had the greatest admiration for Canada's unique identity, which is recognized across the world for bravery and sacrifice in defense of national values.
The King and Queen then returning to the UK after that speech. Tonight, President Trump opening up a new line of attack on Harvard, directing federal agencies to review all contracts with the university and to revoke any contracts that they can. The move threatens up to $3 billion in grants. The president saying he wants to redirect the money to trade schools, though he hasn't explained fully how that would work. When we come back here tonight, Billy Joel and his brain diagnosis and what his wife has now revealed tonight. Also, U.S. Olympian Mary Lou Retton and the new charge she now faces. And the terrifying moments aboard a U.S.-bound flight, flames bursting from under the wing right before takeoff. More on this in just a moment here. Tonight, a scare for passengers and crew on board a United Airlines flight from Beijing to San Francisco. Flames could be seen shooting from under its wing just as it was about to take off after an engine lost power. The jet aborting takeoff. No one was hurt. To a flight here in the U.S. and two pigeons delaying the Delta flight from Minneapolis-St. Paul to Madison, Wisconsin. One pigeon taken off by baggage handlers, then the plane taxiing for takeoff. And look at this, that other pigeon suddenly flying through the cabin, heading back to the gate. Air traffic control clearly in disbelief.
If you guys need assistance, be all good. There's a pigeon on the airplane and it won't go away. That's a first for me. Wow.
Just before the plane finally took off, flight attendants then told passengers to check for birds and pigeons under their seats. That's a new one. When we come back here tonight, the charge against Mary Lou Retton, also Billy Joel, his brain diagnosis, and what his wife has now revealed. To the Index tonight, legendary Olympian Mary Lou Retton has been charged with suspected DUI in West Virginia. Police pulling her over after reports of a Porsche driving erratically, saying she refused a breath test and a blood test. She was released on $1,500 bond. Retton won the all-around gold at the 1984 Olympics, you'll remember, at the age of 16, along with 2 silvers and 2 bronze medals. Tonight, Billy Joel's wife, Alexis, thanking fans for all of their support amid the Piano Man's new health struggle. Writing on Instagram, the family is hoping for his recovery and looks forward to seeing everyone in the future. The 76-year-old music legend canceled all of his upcoming concert dates last week, saying he's been diagnosed with NPH, normal pressure hydrocephalus, a very rare brain disorder. His ex-wife, Christy Brinkley, saying, "You're our piano man." When we come back tonight, remembering a legendary songwriter and guitarist, and you'll know his music. Finally tonight here, remembering singer and guitarist Rick Derringer. You'll know his music.
He's a good friend of ours, Rick Derringer.
Legendary guitarist and musician Rick Derringer, known for his unforgettable hits from the 60s and 70s. He had just turned 18, and he and his band, the McCoys, hit it big with Hang On Sloopy. The song became an anthem at Ohio State football games. He was from Ohio.
Hang on, Sloopy, Sloopy, hang on.
His solo career with that instant classic, Rock and Roll Hoochie Koo.
Rock and roll, Hoochie Koo. Naughty mama, not my dude. Rock and roll, Hoochie Koo. Rock on out and spread the news. Yeah!
And with professional wrestling's popularity in the 1980s, Derringer wrote and performed a song that would become the iconic theme for Hulk Hogan. Derringer passing away at the age of 77 from heart complications, once speaking about fame and staying grounded.
People can come up and tell you you're great, over and over and over again. It doesn't make you any better than anybody else walking down the street. You have to find something that's real in your life and build your life on some kind of substance.
Light my fuse.
This music takes you back, and I'll see you right back here tomorrow night. Good night.
Thank you for making World News Tonight with David Muir America's most watched newscast.